you guys. So I'm taking my midday walk near the offices of CCI. They have a park right by the office building. So just getting out the office to kind of break up the day a little bit. It's been a okay week so far. My manager's actually on vacation, so I'm like super busy, but it's like a less stressful busy because you don't have like, you know, someone breathing down your neck. Not that he breathes down my neck, but you know what I mean. It's just a little, you know, less stressful. Me and wifey are doing the HCG diet, and it's going pretty good. It averages like 1 pound lost per day, so it's good for that, but it's like a low energy thing. Like you get super tired on that. So I'll catch up with you guys later.
Good afternoon, happy Tuesday. And this is the day that the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. I usually say that right when I get up in the morning, but I felt the need to say it just now because you know what? It's so awesome. But how you guys doing? It is ShanaJaye here, 1/3 of the trio. I'm on the way, hopefully, to take Shadow to get groomed. Today she had her shots yesterday, and she had to get a rabies shot because they just expired. And at the groomers, you know, they have to be current on everything. So she got that amongst another, I think 1 or 2 others. So her appointment is at 4. Oh my gosh. I wish I could show you guys. Oh, this appointment is not going to happen. You know what? I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna get it on my phone, and I'm gonna show you guys because this is officially parking lot traffic, so there will be no danger in me getting this for you guys. Wow. Oh my gosh. Look, you guys. I hope you guys can see this. This is not the life. I'm telling you guys, this is not the life. And see, we have like these like light things right here. This lane over here always seems to move faster than the left lane. But these little lights are supposed to help with the entry into the ongoing traffic. Clearly it's not going to help here because it's something going on.
Hey everybody, just finishing up the work day.
Wrapping up a Kirby Smart.
Talking about Georgia football on Sports Talk, it seems. Yeah, wrapping up the day. It's a little wet out here. So yeah, it's a good day for the most part. Not a lot to write home about. Sorry y'all, I'm just trying to navigate this parking deck. I've noticed that I drive a little too fast out the parking deck, so I'll make sure that I'm taking it easy and not going too fast, because people just pop out because they ready to leave too, just like me.
Oh, there is an accident, it looks like. Oh, yes. Oh my gosh. What is... Oh, Lord. I hope they are already... All of the car parts are scattered throughout the road. Wow. Oh my gosh. I couldn't even show you guys that. Is it one car? Oh, did that dairy foods truck hit that car? Oh my goodness. And they were in one of those little teeny bopper cars. I call them teeny bopper cars. They're only big enough to carry you in a purse. So apparently I'm moving.
So the topic of discussion today is something I discussed with my wife last week, and it's called introvert bias. All right, and this is coming from firsthand experience. So when you think of an introvert, in a lot of cases, And I really don't like to put that on myself, but I just understand that there are levels to a person's outgoingness. You got people who just like want to be up against the wall, like don't want to say anything to anybody at any time, and then you got the people who are like 100% game show hosty and are just like at 100 and are on at every minute. So within that spectrum, I'm probably closer to the wallflower, but I'm not like, it's not that serious or at that level. But anyway, getting back to the point at hand. So, you know, with 4th of July and all that kind of stuff, it's a lot of family stuff that goes on. And I was in a situation where I was pretty much having to apologize for being an introvert. Someone made the comparison to my brother. Actually, I introduced my brother as like, well, you know, people usually confuse me and my brother. It's happened all across the years that we were growing up, so I kind of used that to deflect a little bit. But they kind of threw it back at me. They were like, no, I know your brother because your brother speaks. So all I was left to say is like, well, you know, I'm an introvert, so, you know, I didn't really even have anything to say after that. But anyway, getting to the point of this little story time, it's like there was also a sermon on Sunday talking about being an overcomer, and with that story, you know, it talked about releasing people who you have grudges against and who you are offended by. And, you know, on face value, after talking with my wife, you know, she wanted to kind of be like, yeah, you know, that kind of relates to what you were doing and what you were talking about. And I had to like kindly disagree, simply because when it comes to the things that made me an introvert as a young kid, to think, you know, because my point was things don't happen in a vacuum, and I don't hold any grudge against anyone for kind of making me be an inward thinking person. But all I'm saying is like, I'm that way because of a reason. So getting back to you know, the incident at hand, I kind of thought about it in two different ways, right? A person who, if they are growing up and they deal with certain things in their family or certain things with other people, and the way they choose to adjust their personality to deal with it is by becoming a real funny person or a real comical person who has jokes to disarm people all the time or deflect things all the time. 9 times out of 10, that person isn't told to, oh, you need to get over what happened to you in the past and be less funny, or you need to get over, you know, the things that made you funny and be more serious, right? But in the same vein, a person in my case, or in the example that I'm using, is, you know, introverted or, you know, less accessible to people in terms of how meaningful a connection is, because of things that happened in the past. It doesn't mean you don't want a connection. It means it can't be like frivolous. It has to have some type of weight to it. So you kind of have to earn it, more so an introvert. So just think about that contrast. Like you don't really ask a person who's very funny or comical, who attained that personality because of how they grew up, to dial it back, unless they're just like super annoying or vulgar or something like that. And then that's the case too, but it's more so about their content than their personality. No one's asking the outgoing person to be, okay, dial it back. That stuff happened long ago. You don't need to put on a show because of whatever happened, things that happened in your childhood to make you counter that with being outgoing. But when it comes to being an introvert, people see that as a type of fear, or being afraid, or being, you know, weak in a lot of senses. But I also make this comparison when it comes to like being an introvert. Being an introvert isn't something you're fearful of. Like you're not afraid of people. You don't, and it isn't the opposite of like being disinterested and not caring about people. It's just talking about the pleasantness of certain interactions. Like you would rather have a deep, intimate interaction with somebody, and that has to be built over time, versus, you know, every single person you meet, you're at 100, and it's just like, you know, they're like your best friend from day one. Like, it's a great thing if that could be the case, but it's not necessarily that simple for the so-called introvert. So it's not necessarily about fear. I like to compare it to like people's appetite, right? So if you think about foods, and I just kind of thought about it and then I looked it up online. So when I looked up foods commonly disliked by half the people in America or something like that, it was some random Google search like that to kind of get my thoughts together. And they came up with like olives, and I love olives, you know, but some people like look at olives and it's displeasant to think about, and it's displeasant to digest. Like, you wouldn't go out of your way to eat an olive, you know. Some people wouldn't. Some people wouldn't go out of their way to eat oysters or blue cheese. Like, these were the things on the list, you know. But some people would, and that's what I compare being an introvert to. Like, having certain social interactions is like going out of my way to take a big old bite out of an onion, you know. Like, I'm not afraid to take a bite out of an onion, but why would I? Like, that's not a natural thing to do, you know. Or take 3 or 4 olives, which I do like to eat. I like olives, and just eating them like 1, 2, 3, 4. For other people, that might be something that is not a natural flavor or a natural thing that they want to eat. So, you know, again, it's just something that is pretty recent, and again, I just find it weird and odd that double standard does exist. Because after the sermon, and they talked about letting things go and stuff like that, I'm like, well, I'm not necessarily holding anything against any person, but I can't erase all the things in my past that have created the personality and the person that is me. Nor would I want to, because I make the joke all the time. And just to give you guys a little backstory, like, you know, I used to play high school football, and I was like fairly good, but I never really thought of myself as like a college level football player at the time. I never really aspired to that. I was more of a baseball player, but I had a lot of the tools to play football at the next level. And the reason why I know that is because people who have played in the league or who played at the collegiate level had a lot of success, and I was comparable, if not better than them at that age. But it was just a matter of like knowing that you want to do something. So all that to say, it's just about knowing that you're like meant to do something, having a certain amount of confidence. So it wasn't that I wasn't confident in my ability to play, it's just that wasn't second nature to me. And I joke all the time that had I been like that guy on campus, that, you know, prep all-star in high school or in, you know, a professional football player, my personality would be totally different, just by virtue of me needing that personality to get me there, and me needing that personality to handle the accolades that come with being a star player, you know what I'm saying, versus just being a good player in football, and then baseball not being really not being a huge sport in my school. We were always the underdogs and thought of. So even though I was pretty good at baseball, like, it was an afterthought. So it could never go to your head that you were a good baseball player at my school, because people didn't really care about like baseball in my school. So anyway, the point of that is just to say those things affect your personality. You know, if you grow up around a certain type of people, go ahead, sir. You could be a little more urgent with it, huh? If you grow up around a certain type of people, those personalities affect you. So, yeah, just tell me what you guys think. I mean, I wouldn't call this like a mini rant. It's just something I noticed. Do you think there's like an introvert bias? Do you think people get away with being outlandish and outgoing, and people don't wonder why that personality is their personality, versus when you're an introvert or you see somebody who's an introvert, your first tendency is to think, oh, they're deficient in some type of way, or what's wrong with them, or something like that. You know, it's just something to think about. If you are in that boat, let me know in the comments below. All right.